Welcome to today's video. I'm gonna get straight into the point. Today's video is gonna be a why I think you should never buy a new car unless you're very wealthy or you're extremely well off and money's not a problem. Then, you know, maybe this video is not for you. But if you're someone who doesn't fall into that category, I'm gonna explain exactly why it is. So let's get into it. If you're like me and you know, the idea of having a new car is really exciting. I love to go on like whatever car brand you like, going on their configurator, checking out, you know, what cars they have, like, you know, going through the options list, and you know, you get really excited and you're like, you know, I want to go to the dealer and I want to get a new car. And here's the deal. The first and the most obvious one is that depreciation, right? I feel like majority of you probably know cars depreciate like crazy, anywhere between 20 to 30% in the first year, and then they continue depreciating, of course. Very few cars are appreciating assets, and if they are, they're anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million. So majority of cars depreciate. But here's the thing, right? When the idea of buying a used car does come up, people say, you know, I don't want to buy a used car because I don't want to deal with it's broke. You know, they don't want to deal with all the baggage that comes with a used car. However, think of it like this, okay? Whenever I hear people say that argument, I don't think these people have looked into CPO or buying extremely low mileage, quote unquote, I like to call them basically new cars that are certified pre-owned. And the way I see it is that, say someone buys a car or whatever, they drive it off the lot, loses 30% of the value, then a lot of cars, I've actually seen a lot of cars, if you know, are patient and diligent, you can pick up, for example, a 2018 Audi, or 2019 Audi with 1,000 kilometers, and it'll be like $15,000 cheaper than if you bought it new. And in terms of the money aspect, what happens is depreciation gets hidden a lot by when you're buying a new car through a lease. And a lot of people lease cars because they want the newest car, they want, you know, and it makes sense. You know, cars that depreciate, for example, if you're buying a luxury car that depreciates like crazy, it doesn't make sense to finance it. Of course, you're gonna lease it, you're gonna pay the payments and you're gonna give it back. You don't care about depreciation. However, here's the thing, right? If you were to finance a car and you're driving off the lot, say after 2 years you lost $20,000 to depreciation. I'm assuming you're buying like a semi-luxury car. If you're buying something like a Toyota, you're still gonna lose money, but it's not gonna be 20,000. It's gonna be whatever 20 to 30% of the car's value is. So you're losing $15,000 to $20,000. Whereas if you went to the store, you went to an online, you found a certified pre-owned, same car, had a couple thousand miles on it, you checked it out, it checked out, you save yourself $15,000. Okay. Easy. So that's the most obvious one, is depreciation. You know, you lose a lot of money to depreciation when you're buying a new car. But I feel like the majority of you know this, and the majority of people who are buying a new car understand that depreciation is a part of it. Okay, so this takes me to my next point, which is when you're buying a new car, when you're financing a new car, what happens is, let me give you an example, right? So someone is shopping for their budget is $20,000. They have a $20,000 budget to buy a Honda Civic, whatever, it doesn't matter, the car doesn't matter. They go into the dealership, the guy's like, yeah, you know, we have this used Honda Civic, blah, 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 it's 20K. It basically falls into it basically falls into exactly what the person wanted. But the salesmen are smart. What they're gonna do is they're gonna try to get you into a new car because, of course, they're gonna make the most amount of money, right? Every salesman is gonna try to make money off of you. And what they do is they entice you with very good offers. So the good thing about, or not the good thing, the way they can do this is that when dealers are selling new cars, their margins are pretty big actually. And what they can do is they can give you incentives. I know some things like, you know, 0% finance, 0% down. So they use all these different things to incentivize you to buy a new car. But what you don't realize is that this new car is $30,000. So they're smart. They take the numbers, they say, what do you want as your monthly payment? That is the word that gets everyone. If you are going into a dealership and you are thinking about what your monthly payment is, you're doing it wrong. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is kind of a topic for another video, but never ever go into a dealership and think, how much are my monthly payments gonna be? Because if that's your idea, then you shouldn't be buying a car. You should be looking at how much the car is, how much is your interest rate, how much tax are you paying, and then do the math on the monthly payments. Because if you don't, you're gonna buy a car that's gonna be extremely out of your budget. Here's what I mean. Going back to my example, this guy incensed, hey man, you know, you can buy this car, you can buy this $20,000 car, your monthly payments are gonna be like $300 a month, right? But you could buy this brand new car and your payments are only gonna be like $375, and you get a new car, you get a new this. Most people see that, they're like, wow, $75 for a new car? Like, okay, but that new car is 30 grand, and then they don't think, how did that, you know, where did that $375 come from? They don't realize that the person could have either increased the term, you know, increasing, for example, if you bought that used car, you could have had a 4-year term. This guy increased it to 6 years on the new car to make it seem like you're getting a pretty good deal. And then here's the thing that happens. This happens all the time. People accept it because, you know, it seems like a good deal at face value. They don't critically think about what am I actually getting, and then they get into a 6-year finance or whatever, 6-year loan period agreement that with a car they couldn't afford. You know, like if you're buying a $20,000 car and that's your budget, and this guy upsells you to a $30,000 car, even though you're paying $75 more a month, at the end of the day, if you think about it, you just bought a car that, one, is gonna depreciate, like I mentioned before. If anything, it might depreciate within a year and a half to $20,000. So that's a $10,000 loss after a year and a half. And two, you bought a car that you weren't able to afford. Initially, your budget was $20K, and then you just bought this $30,000, which is way over budget, which what ends up happening is this causes people to buy cars that they can't afford. And I can't tell you how much this happens. Due to the way that new cars are sold, in general, when people buy a new car, they only look at the monthly payments. No one's paying, if you're buying a BMW, no one's paying 60 grand up front. That's just stupid. No one's paying 60 grand up front. But when you're buying a used car, think about it. When you go buy a used car, you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this used car. You think how much it is, the exact value. For example, if I'm gonna go buy an old Toyota, I don't think, oh, my monthly payments are gonna be $20 a month. It's gonna be, oh, this Toyota is $7,000. Do I have 7K? I'm gonna go buy it. When you go buy you're gonna go look at a brand new Audi, you don't say, oh, this Audi is $70,000. You say, oh, the monthly payments are $600. That's just how we think. But if you're not careful about how you think, you could probably make one of the worst financial decisions of your life by getting into a car and then being upside down. And for those of you who don't know what upside down means, is that you owe more on the car than it's worth. And that happens a lot, which is why most people lease. As soon as you finance, say I finance a BMW M5, as soon as I drive it off the lot, I'm upside down. The car, if I were to sell it, I wouldn't be able to pay back my loan amount, if that makes sense. So these are the two biggest reasons why I think no one should buy a new car unless you're rich. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned a little bit about why you should put a little bit more thought into buying a new car. Look at your options, look at the various different things you can do, CPO, lease, all these different things. Take all these factors into account and then decide. Don't let the salesman, trick you with these upsells. And yeah, hopefully you guys don't make an extremely terrible financial decision that could affect your life, or at least affect your financial life for the next 10 years. So that's all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.